Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Now at 5 a.m. on WKYT, Lexington police are on the lookout right now for 4 armed robbers this morning. Coming up, we'll tell you the latest details on this crime alert.
Lexington fire crews are still at the scene of a fire at an apartment building on Reading Road. We have our own crews there to give you the latest updates.
And a Lexington police officer had to shoot a dog this morning after it attacked him. We'll have those stories and more, and breaking news as it happens. It's coming up on WKYT This Morning. Good morning to you and welcome. It's good to have you with us here on this Wednesday. We're at a hump day now. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. Thanks so much for being here. It's turning into a really nice week. I mean, obviously a little bit overcast yesterday.
Yeah, we'll get some sunshine today and cooler temperatures. That's the issue. It's chilly this morning. Here is meteorologist Micah Harris. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. You kind of summed it up. No issues outside except for the cool weather. So a light coat, no doubt about it, will be needed, as most of us are sitting there in the low to mid 40s. Now, there's live sky camera. There's your shot outside. We have beautiful skies. I mean, a few clouds here and there, but other than that, it'll be a good start to the morning once that sun does rise above the horizon. A pair of 45s there in Frankfort and Lexington, Lawrenceburg coming out in the mid 40s. Then we go into Cynthiana and then work your way off into, say, Robertson County, Mount Olivet sitting there in the low to mid 40s, and over toward the east southeast. Doesn't matter where you go, it's still pretty chilly, and it's going to be a cool one. There's no doubt about that. 55 degrees, mixture of sun and clouds, and it's perfect weather to kind of just stroll around and check out the fall colors, because they're really popping over in eastern Kentucky and now starting to pop here in central Kentucky too. We'll go over the latest forecast as we look for possible frost coming up.
Michael, we'll see you in a bit. Let's get to the news. Lexington fire crews are still at the scene of a fire that ripped through part of an apartment building this morning.
That fire started about 3 o'clock this morning at a complex at the corner of Warwick Court and Reading Road. WKYT's Victor Puente live at the scene of the fire. Victor, what can you tell us you're seeing right now?
Well, you can see the crews still behind me. Reading Road is still closed to traffic. Firefighters are finishing up their investigation. They tell us they were able to get to this fire pretty early. That kept it small and limited the amount of damage it caused. Now, they credit a smoke detector in a neighboring apartment for keeping that fire from spreading. It was a man who lives on the floor below the apartment where the fire started who called 911. He says that alarm went off. He ran outside, saw smoke coming from the window above his. Firefighters say no one was at that apartment. One group was able to get the fire out while another evacuated the building. They say that smoke detector may have saved some lives.
We had basically a small fire in one apartment, just involving one room. The fire doesn't appear to be suspicious. It is under investigation, and we've got the occupants out. We're safe.
They still haven't been able to find the person who lives in the apartment where the fire started. They say once they make sure there isn't any serious damage to the rest of the building, the people who live in those other apartments should be able to return. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you very much. And new this morning, Lexington police are still looking for 4 armed robbers who held up a couple. Police say the robbery happened around 11:30 last night on Honey J Court. A woman was in a car and a man was standing right outside when 4 men pulled up. They covered their faces with bandanas and they had guns. The victim told police that they stole her car keys and some cash. Police have only a limited description of the suspects this morning, but the robbers left in a late 90s model maroon and tan Ford Expedition.
Winchester police say a scammer duped 2 restaurants out of hundreds of dollars. They say 30-year-old Jared Cooper claimed to work with mentally handicapped people. Police say he went into the restaurants and asked employees for a favor.
He has taken a check in there to the workers inside the restaurant, asked to cash it so that he can give the people in his party money so that they can come back and pay for their food.
After getting the cash, police say Cooper would make up an excuse to get the check back and then run off. Later, police posted pictures of the scammer that they got from surveillance pictures. They say it quickly helped lead them to Cooper. Lexington police tell us that one of their officers had to shoot a dog this morning after the officers say the dog bit another officer.
And the officer says that he tried to get the dog away from him multiple times, but it just kept charging at him and attacking him. WKYT Sean Moody is live at police headquarters this morning with the latest details on this. Sean, good morning.
Good morning. This happened around midnight over on Whitney Avenue. Police say after a dog repeatedly attacked an officer, that officer had no choice left but to shoot the dog. Police say they were called to the home on Whitney Avenue for a report of a disorder. When they got there, they say a 100-pound German Shepherd ran out of the house and charged an officer several times, biting the officer's leg, breaking the skin. Police said the officer was able to get the dog away across the yard, but then they said the dog charged again. That's when they said the officer shot and killed the dog. Now, police didn't file any charges in this case, and we're told that officer did not require any medical treatment. Live in Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Sean, thank you. Happening today, a man accused of killing his girlfriend and dumping her body in a sinkhole will be in court again. Johnny Ray Hendricks is accused of killing Monica Wells. He pleaded not guilty to the charge of murder last week in Pulaski County. He's still in jail on a $500,000 bond. On Monday, family and friends of Wells held a vigil to honor her memory and to connect with other victims of domestic abuse.
Well, drivers called it a traffic nightmare after a chemical leak shut down Interstate 75 in Madison County for hours. Police said the driver of the tanker noticed ferric chloride was leaking around mile marker 96. The chemical used in sewage treatment can be dangerous if inhaled, so police closed off the interstate between exit 90 in Richmond and exit 97 at Clay's Ferry yesterday afternoon. Emergency crews also issued shelter-in-place orders for some neighborhoods near the interstate. Drivers had to use US 25 as a detour. Many of them told us they spent hours stuck in wall-to-wall traffic.
We turned around on the highway on the median and found a hotel and got a map and found some side roads and made it as far as we could. But then those are all stopped too. Can't even go around.
By late afternoon, all lanes of Interstate 75 had reopened. All shelter-in-place orders were lifted. A state police trooper had to be taken to the hospital to be checked out for possible exposure to chemicals. That trooper is expected to be all right. No one was injured.
Major inconvenience. Certainly, the chemical leak also caused some problems with getting students home from school. Bus drivers in Madison County had to find other routes with the interstate closed and nearby roads clogged up with traffic. Police actually escorted some of the buses around the traffic to help get students home. And students who lived in neighborhoods where shelter-in-place orders had been issued had to wait at school until those orders were lifted. New this morning, 2 Kentucky cardiologists have agreed to pay thousands to settle a false billing case. This is all according to our partners at the Herald Leader, who report that 2 London doctors were accused back in 2011 of being part of a scheme to perform hundreds of unneeded heart procedures on patients in order to get payment from Medicare and Medicaid. The hospital settled in January, agreeing to pay $16.5 million.
There's some good news for foodies in the Bluegrass. Lexington is in the top 10 cities that offer the best food for the best prices. I'll have to agree with that. Online site Wallet Hub just came out with a study of the 150 most populous cities in the U.S. looking for the most and least economical food scenes in the country. Lexington ranked number 9. Louisville ranked, get this, 99th. The best city overall was Orlando, Florida.